All right, we're back with Shine or Shade. And so I really have two and they kind of relate. Basically, we are 8 weeks in, we have 9 weeks left all the way through the end there. And the most points for is 979 for Johnny 3. So through 8 weeks, he has 979 points. Do you think that over the next 9 weeks, someone will achieve over 2,000 points? So there's actually a few people already at 900 plus. So 979, 968. Most of us have scored 900 points. Do you think anyone scores 2,000 points by the end of the season? Shine or Shade or over under, I guess.
I'm going to go, shade under. You're starting off the year with everyone being healthy. You have no idea what the second half of the season brings. You're hoping that everyone stays good and makes it through the season, but that's just not the reality of, the NFL. I think someone putting up more numbers than they have in the first half of the season is unlikely. There would be good odds to take a bet on that in Vegas. I'd put that way.
For sure.
I'm going to shade that.
I'm going to shade that too, just because, we're just about to hit week 9. We're 9 weeks from now to be week 18, right? So not a lot of players who are probably fantasy stars are going to be playing. And, you'll probably see Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes and a lot of folks sitting that week, and which is unfortunately the second week of our 2-week championship game. So unless we see some streamers, some waiver wire folks go off, I don't see anybody making it over 2,000 points.
Eric?
Yeah, I think I'll take the over on it, just to maybe give a little bit of different perspective. Obviously it could go either way. I think this year's been pretty low scoring historically. I've seen that a lot, where a lot of these games have been really not characteristic. You got offenses like the Rams and Buccaneers, Broncos all struggling. I think teams will figure it out a little bit. To Cam's points, I can see the AFC being really close and those kind of studs staying in the last week. So yeah, we'll see. I'll go ahead and go over with it.
Yeah, I was going to take the over as well, just because there's an extra week. We've already had 8. There will be 9 more. I do think it's a close race. I don't know if anyone's going to be, every year there's always one team that's better than everyone else, but I think most teams will have their guys all the way through week 18. There's still a lot of buys to play, but I just think, I think it has been a historically low scoring season. I don't know what the stats are specifically on that, but I definitely think someone will score over 2,000, if not more, because there's a few people that are close there. So yeah, I was gonna shine that over 2,000 points, but then sticking with the 2,000 points kind of category there, I have the most points against with also 979 points. Is my total points against for the whole season going to be over 2,000 points? I guess that's a very similar question anyway, because it's.
But I'm going to shade that for the similar reason that I shined the other one.
I guess the same.
It is officially, technically, it is officially win now mode for Colin. You have to win. We already kind of knew that sort of subjectively, but yeah. There's 4 weeks left in the regular season. You could get a total of 8 wins, right? The last team in the playoffs right now is 8-8. So you still are technically allowed to make the playoffs. If you don't make the playoffs, I don't see, I think your season ends there, and I don't see people dropping 200-point games on you over the course of, or even more, 250 points. I don't think that happens to you over the course of the next 4 weeks. So I'm going to shade that.
I'm going to shade that as well. Colin's had some decent success throughout this league in the past. You know, it's tough to compete with the GOAT, Mr. Cooper, on the other end of this, who seems to just have a place over the mantle for the trophy every year. But I don't think that the fantasy gods hate you that much, Colin. I think you're going to pull a couple wins out, and I think you're going to be all right. I think playoffs might be a distant dream.
Yeah, no, I think I'm playing for
I think
the
2,000 points, you're safe.
yeah, no, I think I'm playing for the non-SAT bowl or whatever we chose to do. I'm not trying to do that.
Is that what we chose to do?
I don't know. That seems to be the favorite right now is the SAT or like 5 minutes to stand up, or there was another suggestion out there.
WNBA game.
Yeah, we'll have to vote on. We'll have to like have an official vote. We'll like call a team meeting and have official vote on what I am gonna end up fucking doing.
Well,
the good thing is there's still the play, like the losers bracket in the playoffs. So you just be the lowest seed, but
yeah.
There are teams who have historically not paid attention in the losers bracket of the playoffs. So you're still safe.
That's fair. That's fair. Does anybody else have a shine or shade or anything?
Yeah, and it actually segues very nicely. It was going to be
sweet.
Sorry, Colin. Is Colin going to surpass Jason? The way the trends are going, you know, Colin's team is at least starting to score some points with some people, and Jason is on the decline strong. Thoughts, shine or shade? Colin ends up with a better record than Jason.
Yeah, I'm gonna shine that because I like to be optimistic, and I just think, I don't know, I'll hit on one of these free agents, or I'll make a trade where it just kind of helps me because I'm still sending them, you know.
Yeah.
Don't think I ain't, you know, like I'm sending them. So, you know, I think I can, that's a good little goal for me to have, is to not be as bad as Jason by the end of the regular season.
Yeah, I'm gonna shine that too. I think at this point, the most active coaches have to put themselves in the best chance to win. And Colin has been no short of activity in this season. So he's making moves. Jason has been a little bit abnormally not active. So I don't think that bodes well for him in the future for winning more games.
It's funny you say that though, because Willie has 100 FOB. So, and he's the #1 team in the league. So that's crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah. Trades don't require any money.
That you should write that down somewhere.
I already have something else written down that's right along those lines. It's unless Colin's giving you money, don't trade.
Oh shit. Oh.
But that's more of a historic past thing,
Yeah,
rather than just this season.
I'm gonna use that when I send one your way.
Okay.
Eric, do you have a shine or shade on if I'm gonna be better than Jason in the next?
Yeah, I've been thinking about it. I mean, tough call. I'm gonna go ahead and shade that. I mean, I agree with the be more active. I think that's gonna help you down the stretch. Just looking at his team, I think, I mean, given that like he's already 3 games ahead too. And he's got like hopefully James Conner, Darren Waller, Michael Thomas coming back. I mean, we'll see what happens with those guys. I mean, it's gonna be close. We'll see, but for now, I'll give it the shade.
Fair enough.
I was going with shine. I actually think exactly what has been said was my mindset. I'm not sure if Colin puts more hours into fantasy or his actual work.
That's actually close.
But with that point, I think some magic is bound to happen here.
Yeah.
And I see Colin pulling it out. I know Jason's work schedule, busy season in the golf industry, is you're not thinking about your fantasy lineup quite as much. And if he sees it tanking, he might let the ship sink.
We got to make this thing a dynasty league, so people have to pay for their sins over the course of the years.
Yeah, you guys know this league better than me, so that was a tough call for me to make on that. But your arguments are very compelling here.
Okay. If there's no more shiner shades, I can go into the blind resumes real quick and just see kind of what you guys are thinking. So what I'll do is I'll kind of give you guys a little bit of a blurb about each team, and then I want you to tell me which team you think you will end up being ranked higher come playoff time. Okay. So this first one, let's see. This first one. So one team is currently on a 2-game head-to-head losing streak right now. The other team is 1-1. So team A is on a 2-game skid. They're 6-2 against the median, 4-4 head-to-head. So they were 4-2 2 weeks ago, and they've lost 2 head-to-head games. So that's team A. Team B is 1-1 head-to-head the last 2 weeks, and 5-3 overall head-to-head, and 6-2 against the median. So both these teams are 6-2 against the median. Team B is 5-3, 1-1 last 2 weeks. Team A is 4-4, and they're 0-2 in the last 2 weeks. Which team would you rather have come playoff time / which team would you rather have right now?
Well, team B has the better record because they're same against the median, but he has the better head-to-head. So he's higher in the standings.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see what their points for are at the moment.
Their points for are essentially equal.
Essentially equal.
They are equal. Yeah, they're equal.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take the better record just because of the higher seed.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you give me any more information than that, I'll be able to figure out who they are.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, but at the moment, team B is in the better standing, so I'll take that team.
Okay. Yeah, they've performed a little bit better against, head-to-head. I will say team A has lower points allowed, right? So team B overall has played better teams and has a better record, right? And they're hotter right now between the two of them.
Well, give me that team then.
Yeah. Do we have a consensus here?
Yeah, I'd go the exact same route. I mean, got someone that's lost 2 games back to back. Already said they've got lower points allowed, so their points for they're going to be a little bit weaker.
Yeah,
I'm going to take someone that's got the better record.
So in this situation, team B is Troy, and team A is Rob. Both of them they basically have the same exact points for 946.06 and 946.08.
Wow.
Troy has like 24 or 25 more points allowed, or 30, something like that. About 30 more points allowed. So yeah, does that change y'all's answer, knowing now which resume is which?
No, but I do like Troy's team better. Like I don't know, like knowing that it's Troy's team, it makes sense because I do like it better from his situation, and I do like his team better from his roster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
all right.
I'll go back to what we all said in the beginning of the season. That is Troy's team a little bit overrated. I think he's proven at this point, no, it's not. I mean, he's putting up numbers. We've been saying, Rob has had a pretty solid team this season as well. I think Troy's going to finish strong.
Yeah,
I stick with that answer for sure.
Gotcha. So next one, we kind of touched on this earlier in the podcast, but this team has the highest points for in the league, 4th highest points allowed, 4-4 head-to-head, and then 4-4 against the median. That's team A, right? So, high potent offense, but also gets the best of every team every week, and pretty much average head-to-head and against the median. Versus A team that's 6-2 head to head, 5-3 against the median, and has the third lowest points allowed, right? So we've gotten the best of every team, or the worst, not the best of every team this year. And let me just take a look here at their points for, yeah, right about middle of the road, sixth overall as far as total points for, right? So a team that's sort of been unlucky, for lack of a better term, or a team that's kind of given what the defense has given them, or taking what the defense has given them. Team A is the highest points for, and team B is a 5-3, 6-2.
Give me points for all day. Like that's what this league is about. That's kind of why we added the median, to give the scoring, a value other than just the matchup. So like if you're scoring the most points week in, week out, and you have the most points at the end of the season, I believe that's the best team. But then the matchups add a different element. So give me points for all day. I'll take team A.
Yeah, same here. I'm taking the points. Just the potent offense. That's what this game's about, scoring at will. Team A.
I mean, statistically, I don't know how it's not, team A.
Yeah.
If they're scoring, it doesn't work like this, but if they're scoring the most points every week based on them being the highest points, they basically are going to get at least one win every week. I would take them 100%.
Yeah. I agree with what you guys are saying, but I feel like knowing what these other two teams are, I probably would take team B, just because I think they're 6-2 over the last 4 weeks. On the other team is 4-4, just kind of moving in the right direction, while this other team is sort of floundering, not moving backwards, but not moving up. So team A was Johnny, like we talked about, and team B is Josh. So I guess there's something to be said too about, obviously Johnny's a high scoring team, but do you think that some of that luck, or what he's experienced with the highest points allowed or fourth highest points allowed, is that going to transcend into the playoffs if he makes it, right? Like, do you have a tendency to just play teams when they're good, or is that just sheer luck, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean,
because if that's the case, then that you don't really want that following you.
I mean, you're always taking a chance of taking the L, and like, just because he's the most points for doesn't mean like his record shows he's 8-8. Like there's weeks where he's having low scoring games, and then when he does score a lot, it's like the most. So you can take that L, but in a championship series over 2 weeks, it's the most points for over those 2 weeks. So you might have a low point week, but the next week you score 200, that wins you a championship.
Yeah, that's a good point. Anything else? I have one more after this.
Run it.
Okay. This last one, Team A. Team A is 8-8. Unfortunately, they are on a 3-game head-to-head losing streak right now. And let me just take a look here. Currently 4-4 head-to-head and against the median. It looks like they're the second highest points for in the league. Third highest points for in the league. And right around the median, average for points against, let's call it 7th. Kind of had a tough go at it the last 3 weeks head to head, but 8-8 right now, currently in the playoffs, versus a 9-7 team that has only scored less than 105 points this season 2 times. Let's take a look at these points for here. About average points for, let's say it's called 6th, and 4th lowest points allowed. So a little bit of a bit better standing. Might have been a little bit of a higher scoring offense on average. But an 8-8 team that's kind of on a skid, or a 9-7 team that has a little bit lower points allowed.
there's nothing really you can do about points allowed. That's
Hmm.
like your point, your opponent's number. So that's like completely out of your control. I guess so is how much your team is scoring too, but I don't know. That's not gonna stay consistent. Just because your opponents are having low weeks doesn't mean like it. That's not. I don't think that stays around for long.
Yeah.
And you can't like that. You can't hope is not a strategy. You can't hope your team, your opponent is scoring less, and that's how you're gonna win. So I'll take the lower ranked team because are they scoring more points?
Take a look
No,
here.
the higher rank is slightly above, correct? It was 6 and 7, 6 for the 9 and 7, and 7 for the 8 and 8.
So no, sorry. For in total points for the 8 and 8 team is third in the league, and the 9 and 7 team is 7th. Yeah. So it's another one of those like, is it unlucky or is it just what's going on, right?
Yeah. No, I'll take points again.
Yeah.
Like the fact that 9 and 7 team might be playing low weeks, I'll still
Yeah.
take points on this end. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, go for it.
No, you first, because I'm about to cheat with this. I think
Yeah.
I think beforehand I already knew exactly what this was. A little bit debated here. As much as I would like to say, I think the 9 and 7 has some great potential with some bench players they haven't been playing. I would have to say that the 8 and 8 has proven in a few weeks that they're capable of scoring some high numbers and being third most scoring in the league. I'd go with the person who's 8 and 8. Head-to-head matchups. That's a little bit of luck, right? I mean, you go up against Willie, who's scoring 150 points. If you score 140 points, you're probably going to be second or third most in that week. It's unlucky.
Yeah. So we both kind of figured it out, I guess. But yeah, when you said 3 straight losses, I felt like, okay, it's got to be my team. I've had a unlucky stretch here. I remember just a couple of weeks ago, I was sitting near the top, and it happens. I think I'm capable of scoring points. I realized I was third. I just checked. I'm like right below Johnny. So yeah, hopefully get some better matchup luck and don't barely lose against the median.
Yeah, it really comes down to that. I mean, it's crazy how many, that's a 2-game swing.
Crazy.
So
yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. Yeah. So obviously I was talking about Eric and Alex here just to put you guys on the spot. But yeah, that was cool. That was interesting to kind of break it down that way. I think with the records, it's kind of easy to tell who's who right now, but as we get farther on in the season, we see a little more variance. That'll be a little bit more of a fun activity to do. But it is crazy. I mean, yeah, Eric, you're, but there's so much. Like, I'm just going to share my screen real quick. If I'm allowed to do that, maybe. No, I can't. Never mind. But like, there's literally there's 2 games that separate seeds 4 through 9. So like, there's this game. This league is still very much undecided from a who's in and who's out perspective. So
the median adds like a lot of parity to it. It's kept our standings real tight, and I expect it to continue that way.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, with the median added and the 2 additional teams, things have just gotten a lot closer. I mean, I remember in the past, waivers, were really active, but you were able to get some really hot players without much thought. This year, everyone's grabbing at everything, and there's less players to grab even to begin with. It's become a much tighter league this year than in the past.
Cool.
No, yeah, I mean, to recap the free agency from the past 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, Rob spent $23 on Kenyon Drake after he scored 19, and then he scored 3, and then he scored another 14 after that. But I mean, $23 for Kenyon Drake. Everybody wanted him. I think there was at least 4 or 5 bids, maybe. So that's the kind of money you need to spend for players that can win you off weeks. I spent $21 on Robbie Anderson. So yeah. $13 on Gesicki from Rob. Also another piece of good business, especially how rare tight ends are these days. $11 on Donovan Peoples-Jones from Wayne. So he's been all right, I guess. I don't really know what he's been up to.
He had a pretty good game this past week. I think he had like 9 or 10 points, and 8 or 9 points.
Okay. Eric spent 7 on Jets D.
Yeah, I keep doing that with defenses. It's probably stupid, but I just don't have a good defense and I have to stream them.
Has it been paying off? Like, have you been?
Yeah, it hasn't been hurting me. I mean, the Jets, I think, are a good defense to have too. I might have messed up earlier in the year with a couple teams, but I mean, I'm kind of happy with them now. Still got some money to spend, so.
Yeah. Then you got $6 on Latavius Murray from Nico. That's, just stacking up there. 5 on Matt Ryan from Troy. Yikes. But I mean, at the time, you need to stream somebody.
Well, that was you at one point. So it was
$2 on Finn's D from Josh. Good play there. They haven't been doing great, but now he's got him, especially with Bradley Chubb now. And then $1 for Deontay Foreman. That seems to be one of the best pieces of business so far, and that was last week. And then he was traded.
Yeah,
and a week after.
And then I thought it was a steal, and now I realize that maybe I was the one who got fleeced.
Yeah, no, I definitely thought someone was getting fleeced. And then this week, Troy spent $25 on Paris Campbell, who plays on the Colts. I spent another 21 on Marquise Goodwin. And then 10 on a tight end from Johnny 3, Greg Dulcich on the Denver Broncos. And then after that was kind of inconsequential. But yeah, that would be the free agency recap. And then the trade recap is quite a bit different. Let me see if I can pull those up.
Yeah, there's a couple big trades. Looks like I'm not sure what the first one was, but Colin, I know you had a pretty big trade with my dad about 10 days ago.
Let's see it. Yes. Deebo Samuel and Justice Hill for Nyheim Hines, DK Metcalf, and Hunter Renfrow. Yeah, I mean, I just wanted a big name player. So I put together a package of DK and Nyheim Hines, really, and then Renfrow. DK immediately got hurt in that next game, but then still played the next week. So that was crazy. And Deebo was out one of these games. So not a lot of heavy lifting yet for anybody in this trade.
You said DK was hurt after the trade?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was with my dad when this happened. What did you say?
You were with your dad?
I was with my dad when this trade was going down, and I'm more of a Deebo fan than I am a fan of DK. And
that's crazy.
But Nyheim Hines might have some value now that he's in Buffalo. I mean, I know that's kind of I don't know. I like that offense more.
Yeah.
But this is looking to shake out to be a little more of a fair trade. DK kind of went off this past week. 15 points, I think. So this one ended up being a little more close than I thought. Let me see. I just want to make sure we didn't skip any other trades before that. I don't think we did. And then after that was the next trade.
Oh yeah,
what was
me and Josh.
I think it was Josh and Colin.
Gus Edwards and Brandon Cooks. I mean, Edwards didn't play this last week, so that hasn't panned out yet. And Brandon Cooks is staying put in Houston. So we're still kind of waiting to see how this pans out. Nothing's really happened yet.
Yeah, I thought this was I mean, based off of the trade that I made shortly thereafter, I thought this was a pretty fair trade. I think you guys both established it. Josh has been looking at after Brandon Cooks all season. He's been trying to scope him, I'm pretty sure. And I think you were just opportunistic with Gus Edwards. I think this was a good trade. You got something that you needed. He got something that he wanted. So still remains to be seen on how it pans out, but
Sure.
I think you guys both won.
Be interesting to see if Josh feels that way now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I guess Brandon Cooks has more points so far, but we'll see. And then next, similar trade.
Were you also with your dad on this one as well?
No, I was not. I put Deontay Foreman on the block like last Wednesday, and my dad sent me a trade Wednesday night. And he sent me just straight up Devontae Smith for Deontay Foreman. And I think at the time I was like, I didn't know if Chuba was hurt or not. And I was like, I gotta throw this, send this guy off before he comes back down to earth. But it looks like he might be the guy in Carolina.
Well, yeah. Chuba was out, so he didn't have anybody like taking his carries. But he still showed out. He's definitely talented, that's for sure. He proved it.
This was one of those things where like I just had to time the market. Like I am very, very shallow at running back right now. I got 4 running backs like Najee, Saquon, AJ Dillon, and Tyler Algier. And I need running back depth now. And I got like 8 receivers. So I'm in the process of trying to see if I could flip Devontae Smith and other players for at least another running back. So I didn't have to make this trade, but I thought I was getting good value for Foreman at the time. And I still think it could be, and I still like this, the stack, if you will, with Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts. So
yeah,
if you guys need a receiver, hit me up. I got a bunch. There was initially some pushback from, I think it was Colin and Eric on this trade.
yes, definitely.
Yeah. I should probably admit, when I'm wrong here.
So far.
Didn't know Chuba was out. Obviously getting the whole backfield, and then that game just somehow turned into like this offensive slugfest. So, Foreman went off, but I mean, he's talented, man. He's shown it before, and if he does have control of the backfield, like I think you lost that trade overall if that does end up happening, and which is crazy because obviously both of us were thinking it was the opposite way. That's how fantasy goes.
Yeah, he was just picked up off waivers, so you don't expect someone to trade for like a legitimate, like draftable.
Yeah, it made sense
for a waiver
pickup.
Dad,
said why, the logistics of the trade and like the team, how the team's constructed and what he needs. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, I can see this making sense, and obviously it paid off for him.
Yeah, for sure.
Wayne's got a lot of free time now. These moves are very.
I actually think Rob drafted Deontay Foreman, I'm pretty sure, way back when CMC was still there and they thought he might be made a class. So, but Devontae Smith definitely is more of a household name, certainly.
Rob did draft him in the 16th round. That's crazy. Anyway, we have couple more actually, and I actually have 5 more minutes on this meeting because I'm not upgraded to pro or some bullshit. So we might have to speed this one up. We were there when Troy made this trade with Willie, and we were amongst trade talks. So Mike Williams straight up for Tyler Boyd. I mean, I don't know. This is the kind of stuff you like to see. Just people's straight up opinion on their own player and what they want and what they need. Like, maybe it doesn't pay off for Willie immediately. It can't. He's going to be on the IR for 4 weeks. But to give away Tyler Boyd, who just basically got the number 1 receiver spot in his offense, it's crazy, right?
Well, he did that before Chase got hurt, or was that after Jamar?
After.
Yeah.
I thought so. I was with Troy when he sent me Mike Williams for T. Higgins, and I was like, absolutely not. You've got to be on crack. Like Mike Williams is. I need to win games now if I want to make the playoffs. Mike Williams is not going to give me any points until the end of the season, and realistically, he's only going to give points I think he's still out for 3 or 4 weeks. So if I'm assuming Willie makes the playoffs, like he's not going to see Mike Williams until the last week of the regular season or the first week of the playoffs. So it doesn't really make sense to me. And Willie's argument was, well, Tyler Boyd's on my bench. And I was like, well, he was, probably won't be now that Jamar Chase is hurt. So I just, like Colin said, it's your opinion and you're entitled to your, managerial operations, but I don't totally believe in this trade. If you see, I left the little thinking guy on the bottom there.
Yeah.
I'd like to know what the amount of alcohol consumed was before these trades were accepted. I think there's a little bit of collusion and persuasion mixed with cocktails that probably had some of these go through.
Can neither confirm nor deny, said
Cocktails.
Can't quite call it collusion, but something fishy.
And then the last one, we had a trade this afternoon.
Yeah.
That was me and Johnny, right?
Yeah. So this one, this was part of a larger trade deadline trade in the NFL. So,
well, it's funny. I sent Johnny this exact trade like a couple days ago. I was figuring he might want the Christian McCaffrey handcuff and tried to get Brian Robinson, and I just basically resent it today. This can go either way. I mean, Robinson and Gibson are just like, no one knows what's happening now week by week. They keep alternating. Felt like I was buying Robinson low coming off like a week where Gibson got all the touches and the catches, and we'll just see what happens. In Miami, I'm kind of hoping Mostert's the guy and Wilson's just going to be like a backup.
Yeah, Mostert looks good. So, I mean,
yeah.
But a lot of Finns fans said they wanted a running back. That seemed to be a consensus Finns thing. They want a running back, so they got one.
Nope.
Is Chase Edmonds rosterable at this point, or is he pretty much?
Yeah.
Is he not long for this roster?
No, he's on my roster, right?
I would like to think so, but
I'll see how I'll watch him for a week in Denver, see what happens. I don't know who has Melvin Gordon, but if he gets a lot of touches, maybe like that's a handcuff for him, but I'll probably
I know somebody on this podcast who has Melvin Gordon.
Oh, really?
Hit me up.
Hey.
Let me know what you want.
Yeah. We'll see. Edmonds has been really bad this year. So I don't expect much.
Well, looks like we have 1 minute left until this thing stops. I'm just running through these games next week. It looks like we have Alex playing Willie. It's a pretty high profile game between two teams winning records, and Troy and Rob. So that's another top 5 matchup.
yeah. Oh, it's me and Jason. It's the shit bowl.
Hey.
Let's see if I can
start your comeback, Colin.
Yeah, this is where it begins. This is where
you make it up.
You can't come back if you don't start down.
There you go. Love to see it. All right,
guys.
This is gonna end when it ends, and that's when it's gonna end. So
Right on.
Until then, good job. Well done.
Thank you guys for coming on.
Yeah,
first ever 2 guest podcast. We made it work.
Yeah, this was cool. Thanks, guys.
Hell yeah.
We'll be back in 2 weeks.
All right,
All right.
Be easy.
All right.
You boys.